Last time we saw more of what everyone was unlocking during their training. And now with Super mostly covered, we go into the Tournament of Power, as well as something interesting later on. It is an April Fool's What If after all, so I want to do something more unique here. Let's begin covering part 5 of What If Mr. Satan Was Strong. Now that we set up a team for the tournament in the last episode, we go into the Tournament of Power itself. And as you'd probably expect, it's not really going to be a contest here, but I will cover some of the big things. This is the most stacked Tournament of Power team I've had in one of my What Ifs in a while, because the weakest one here is Krillin, and surprisingly the other two weakest here are 17 and 18. Which says a lot because 17's not weak by any means, so the fact that he's the third weakest here, it really goes to show how strong this team is. Android 16's probably been upgraded again. Videl, Gohan, and Piccolo also have Ultimate, although that's not their full strength because they've actually gone beyond that too. And also, as you could probably guess, by now Gohan and Piccolo have gone beyond their forms. Gohan has unlocked his Beast form, and Orange Piccolo's here too. Years have passed since they got these powers, and they have been training consistently. Ultimate Videl's pretty strong on her own too, but she doesn't have a flashy new form. And of course, we still have Goku, Vegeta, and Mr. Satan. Now, Mr. Satan barely has to use his full power here, which is great. Same for Goku and Vegeta to an extent. The first showcase of their new power comes when Goku tries to fight Jiren. He and Vegeta have evolved Super Saiyan Blue. And it's not just Super Saiyan Blue evolution. No, that was essentially the precursor for what they have now. Goku undergoes a change, and it's not really a big change, but there is still something noticeable about it. The form almost looks like Blue evolution, except there's an outline around Goku's eyes, as well as his tail growing back. And his eyes turn into the color of his Super Saiyan 4 form, rather than Blue evolution. The aura is also similar to Blue evolution, but it's a lot more condensed and a lot more powerful. This is a limit-breaking form beyond Super Saiyan Blue. This is Super Full Power Saiyan Blue Limit Breaker, or simply Blue Limit Breaker. I think the inspiration where this form came from should be pretty obvious. By honing Super Saiyan Blue and locking into the limit-breaking potential of Super Saiyan 4, and figuring out how to do that innately without transforming into Super Saiyan 4, they're able to completely master Blue and go beyond its limits, leading to this incredibly powerful form. Although right before Goku tries to fight Jiren, Toppo then jumps in to make sure he can, which is a bit annoying, and Goku actually kind of fodderizes Toppo here. But he's not going to stop there, and even Dispo joins in to help him. This fight's going to be no problem for Goku, and he is a bit annoyed that the fight's being interrupted, but it lets Mr. Satan step up to Jiren instead. He tells Jiren this is his what if after all. He's not going to let Goku have all the fun. And he activates his champion spirit. If Jiren truly is the strongest mortal in the multiverse, Mr. Satan knows that he'll have to surpass him. He'll become the strongest mortal, if he isn't already. Mr. Satan gets to see his true power. Now, Jiren is strong, but it's not like anything crazy, especially considering the people in his universe. But he could tell that something's holding him back. Not like he's holding himself back, but rather, there's something that makes him not as strong as he should be. And Mr. Satan can clearly tell what's wrong when he actually starts talking to Jiren. Jiren is only focused on strength. He wants to be the strongest. He clearly is motivated, and he's devoted himself purely to strength. But then Mr. Satan confronts him. Isn't that kind of boring? Doesn't he have someone in his life he cares about or something? Is it really just all strength? And yeah, that is essentially Jiren's life. Ever since losing his master, he's been completely devoted to it. And that's where the two of them differ. Sure, Mr. Satan brags a lot about his power, and he does like to be the strongest. He tries to work as much as he can to be the strongest. He brags and gloats a lot, but he cares a lot too. His good pal Goku changed his life. His daughter is one of the reasons he wants to be as strong as he is, partially due to the fact that he wants to protect everyone, and partially due to the fact that he wants to impress everyone too. He has to be a role model, and support those around him. As Beerus watches the battle from the stands, he finds this pretty interesting. Wow, this guy's kinda changed. Back when he met Mr. Satan, it seemed like he only really cared about the fame. And sure, he still does care about the fame, but he actually has a reason to want that fame, and it doesn't seem to be the main thing that drives him anymore. He wants to make himself greater for the sake of others now. Being the world champ, or the multiversal champ, it's to represent Earth and show its might. And not just that, but it's to make sure that Earth is safe. Earth has faced many threats in the past, and some of them Mr. Satan has gone up against. And he tells Jiren this is the true secret behind the champion's spirit, something that Jiren lacks severely. He's only focused on that strength, and the strength might not serve a purpose for him besides something negative like revenge. Now, he can't say for sure. It's not his place to psychoanalyze someone. But he simply tells Jiren this because that's the secret behind his power. And maybe, by being the symbol of strength in a good way, maybe he can affect Jiren as well, and maybe his influence could spread to other universes. He could show them there's more to power than just being the strongest. It's not only the true spirit of the champion, but the true spirit of the Earthlings, and the true spirit of Universe 7 as a whole. Mr. Satan's willpower flares up, causing his power to flare up too. He declares he will win here, and sure enough, he wins. Goku's a bit bummed because he wanted to fight Jiren, but he was able to fight pretty much all of the other Pride Troopers at once, and defeat them with relative ease. The tournament's actually over pretty quickly too, and since pretty much all of Universe 7 is still in the ring, the MVP isn't the last one standing, but rather, they give it to Mr. Satan because he does seem like the MVP here. He defeated the strongest opponent from another universe. Plus, he's essentially leading the group here too. And Beerus hopes he makes the right choice, but he is a little bit worried about what Mr. Satan will wish for. He knows Mr. Satan's a good guy, but he only really thinks of himself. Although, maybe that's changed. After seeing what he was saying to Jiren, Beerus feels like Mr. Satan's probably gone beyond his ego somehow. An ultra ego, if you will. I gotta clarify, that's a joke, he doesn't actually have ultra ego. I know someone will probably think that's what I meant. And sure enough, Mr. Satan actually wishes for the universe to be restored. If he's gonna be a true champion, he has to do this. Plus, he doesn't really know what else he'd wish for. I mean, this guy's probably like a billionaire by now after all. There's not really much he could wish for besides stuff like immortality or great power, both of which he doesn't really want to wish for. Not only is this the right wish, but it's really the only wish that he has in mind. With no Frieza, there's nothing with Broly right now, and eventually we see Mayris come to Earth. He's not looking for Boo this time because there is no Boo. Instead, he's looking for the champ, the one who saved the multiverse. Everyone's heard about him after the Tournament of Power. So, Mayris goes to recruit the champ. Mr. Satan, Goku, and Vegeta go to Namek together. And this seems good at first with how strong they all are. The fight begins with Vegeta versus Moro, and he showcases Blue Limit Breaker. He tries to finish this quickly with one shot, which is pretty easy for him to do, especially with how much strength he has and how weak Moro is in comparison to them right now. But Moro is quickly able to take a hostage and block the attack that way, stopping Vegeta in his tracks and giving Moro a little bit time to activate his magic passively. So, slowly throughout the fight, Vegeta using Blue Limit Breaker actually becomes a problem because it gives Moro a ton of energy. Goku and Mr. Satan also give him a ton of energy too. Thankfully for Mr. Satan, he doesn't give as much, just because of how his power works so much differently, and that ki only really manifests when he tries to use the champion spirit, but still, his base has a lot of energy. So even with all the power they have, this kind of backfires for them on Namek, leading to Moro getting the Dragon Balls and making his wishes. Soon enough, some of Moro's crew goes to Earth, and unfortunately they encounter Piccolo because Piccolo is able to defeat them just in his power awakened state. He doesn't even need to pull out Orange. And recognizing the threat of these enemies, he's actually able to decimate them completely, including 7-3. They all barely survive, and now that he knows that Earth is under threat, he decides to show them his full strength. Not that he needs to use this to fight them, but this is to scare off any of their allies that might be watching. He goes into his orange form, and quicker than any of them could see, he one-taps and destroys all of them, also making sure that 7-3 is completely eliminated. He learned the hard way against Cell that when he's up against a bio-android, if he has the chance to eliminate them right off the bat, he's gonna do that. And there's no 2 months of training here. Moro actually goes to Earth right after this. It actually encourages Moro. He wants to use Piccolo as a snack. And seeing that Moro is heading towards Earth, Goku, Vegeta, and Mr. Satan teleport back to Earth, trying to warn everyone about what's happening. After sensing those three return, and also Piccolo's fight, Gohan and Videl come over to the area. They get involved in these fights a lot because they care about protecting Earth. As the two great Saiyamen, they have to, even though they don't really don the outfits anymore. And Chi-Chi's more than glad to watch over Pan in the meantime whenever this happens, with Pan also liking to see her parents in action like this. They would have come sooner if it weren't for that. And it's a good thing they did show up because now, Vegeta fills everyone in and tells them what happened on Namek. They have to think quickly of how they're supposed to defeat Moro. Now, even though he's grown pretty strong, with their combined power, they probably will overpower him. That's the issue though. They're powerful. And Vegeta knows Moro is crafty, so even if they try and use a full power attack right off the bat to try and catch him off guard, he probably will figure out some way around it, especially with his current strength. But then Goku theorizes something interesting. Is there a limit to how much power Moro can absorb? Like, obviously, trying to defeat him right away is the best option, but still, if he does end up trying to take their energy, can he contain all of that? You see, Goku kind of noticed this on Namek. When he first got the energy from Goku, Vegeta, and Mr. Satan, it seemed like he couldn't really handle it that well. Eventually, he did get a grasp on it, especially after gaining his youth back. But it's something worth noting because he wonders what would happen if, when coming to Earth and trying to absorb all their power, could Moro even handle that? Not too long after, Moro shows up on Earth. Glad to see those three here again too, because he'd love to use them as a snack again. They're fully healed up and ready to fight as well, and they've had a little bit of time to prepare. They don't have a direct counter for his powers, so really their best bet is to try and fight. They try and attack right off the bat, but of course Moro does expect that, and they know he would probably expect that. Their only strategy right now is to try and distract Moro while someone else attacks him, just so he can't absorb their energy at the same time. And with how many people they have, this actually kind of does work out a little bit, but it doesn't fully lead to his defeat. Goku and Vegeta act as the main attackers with Blue Limit Breaker. They're behind Mr. Satan right now as the strongest. Yes, in this form they're that powerful. Now, of course, Moro does have their power after absorbing it before. Plus, after regaining his youth and all of his magical abilities, fighting them wouldn't be too tough if it were just them. The rest of the group defeats the rest of the prisoners. Then jumping in to fight against Moro. Moro can't actually take them on, and he has 4 other people attacking him at the same time. Gohan, Videl, Piccolo, and Mr. Satan are actually a really good group to work together. Videl knows how to fight alongside Mr. Satan, Gohan can fight pretty well alongside Piccolo and Videl, and to top all that off, they're all really powerful, with Mr. Satan being the strongest one there too. Moro actually is able to get a little bit more power, especially with how strong everyone is, there's so much there to take. But this starts to become his downfall. Not only is he desperately trying to gain power against these people, But the power isn't enough, and he's getting too greedy. He's getting too much power at once and not getting adjusted to it. Not to mention, he doesn't have 7-3 as part of him. It's not like he's gaining their abilities either, which also means no regeneration for him. And Goku could see it now. He's getting too greedy with the power. This is exactly what they needed. It's a desperate attempt to try and counter them, but it's not really working. It's backfiring if anything, because yeah, he's getting stronger, and it does help him fight them off a little bit more. But it only does so much for him. This greed for power, leading to him being destabilized as he fights, as well as the fact that he's in a 6v1 against a group that collectively overpowers him, it's not nearly enough. With their combined strength, they're able to defeat Moro, who continues to try and steal their power up to the very end, not being able to contain that power though, causing him to explode basically into pure energy, with everyone using their full power to hold back this explosion and defend Earth. It was a pretty tough fought battle, and especially with the powers that he had, it was pretty risky too. They weren't sure if they were going to win there, but they did. His desire for power and nothing else, that's what led to him being defeated. Had he not immediately gone to Earth just to get another stack, had he not tried to absorb all their power at once, he might have won if he took it a little bit more slowly and didn't get so greedy. Once again, they defended Earth. They won. But that's not the end of this what if, not in the slightest. It is an April Fool's scenario after all, so I want to get a little bit more unique with it. The next arc is something that I haven't done before. Considering how strong everyone is and with all the great power they have on Earth, as well as everything that's been happening with the gods, someone has been watching all this and keeping up with it. Now, he's been thinking about this for a while, and especially after all the recent events that occurred, he realizes that the gods are being far too destructive. It's almost sickening, and he wants a change. The only person that can change it is him, and at the same time, seeing these mortals fight off against the gods and directly go against them, that really inspires him. Especially the Tournament of Power, hearing that somebody used the Super Dragon Balls to directly go against Zeno's erasure. That's the exact thing he wants to do against the gods. He wants to stand up against them like that. There's also some Kai that tried to steal someone's body and tried to kill all the mortals. This info is really hard to come by, but he has his resources, and this led him to one mortal in particular, one that really interests him, one that he's been watching this entire time. Mr. Satan, the multiversal champ. Hearts has been watching over, and he wonders what he's going to do as his next move. This is where we'll leave off for now. What'd you guys think about this part? Or what's going to happen next time, especially because we never brought Hearts into his story before? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys think. As usual, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps out the channel and shows me you want to see more like this. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.